it's like this ocean, I think. Like, you know you're in deep of it, but you never know there's an end to it. Like, there will always be more. The more you keep going forward, there will always be more and more and more.
This is life. This is the life that we're trying to capture with our art. I mean, this is the feelings that push us, that we're expressing. And this is what makes art so special. You want artists to just give you the art and hang it on consignment and hope that it sells, and you take 50%. No, show me the money, damn it. Show me the money. I'm worth it. You're worth it. Artists are worth it, period. Self-doubt has never been an option. Self-doubt's never been an option. It's been a matter of putting myself out there in as many ways as possible and finding who my audience is and just going for it as hard as I can. Be kind to yourself. You are creative. Be kind to yourself. You are special. Be kind to yourself because the world needs you. That is my greatest advice.
Hey, you guys, welcome back to the Arts to Hearts podcast. This is your host, Charuka, and I'm very excited to be recording this episode and equally nervous. But why do I even say this now? Because I say this every time, but today feels extra special. If you're watching this on YouTube, you would know, like, you can feel how special it feels. I'm sitting in my new studio. I have two of my favorite pieces of my work on the background. I am fully dressed up, in my actual self, as in like how I perceive myself. I'm wearing a beautiful Indian kurta. I have like red lips, bindi. Like, oh my God, I love the energy I am in right now. And I think I definitely have to thank my guest that has brought this in out of me, actually. And I have Ashley Longshore on the podcast today. I'm very excited for this opportunity. And she's been so, so exciting and, so amazing on agreeing to do this. And I'm not even recording this after the recording. Usually I do like that. But I just wanted to capture this moment and, share with you a little behind the scenes of, why I'm doing what I'm doing and how I'm actually, I really like this energy. I think I usually wouldn't put this effort or, put myself like, out there like this. And I'm like, am I not being too much? I, you know, and this is what I really want to learn from Ashley today. I really want to ask her, how is she putting her best self out there? How is she being herself without those fears? And how can we do that? I think we have so much to learn from her when it comes to this. And I have a tons more of questions for her. But in the meanwhile, I am very excited to share the full episode with you. So stay tuned and I'll see you somewhere in between. Let's get into this episode. Firstly, I really want to ask you something, which is, how do you find the courage to be yourself, your fully original self?
Well, I don't know any other way to be. I grew up in the South in the United States, obviously, and I was very much being forced into this box of being like sweet and a Southern belle, and to go find a husband that had a lot of money, and to have children and have a big house, and that never felt like a life goal to me. I always like what you had told me earlier. I always felt different. I always felt not in a bad way, but just like it would have been a lot easier if that is what I wanted to do with my life, by the way. So I mean, I think through going to school, obviously getting an education, being sort of nomadic with all of that, because I went to boarding school in a place called Atlanta in Georgia, and then I went to college at the University of Montana. I lived in the Northeast for a while. I just kind of like have always followed my heart, and when I found painting, much like yourself, I found this very, very great love in my life. I found this thing that fulfilled me, not only just in an exciting way, but also in a very deep meditational way. I found a way to make the world disappear and to find this place of just color and calm and wonderment that
Yeah.
I could control. And so, I mean, I still feel that way when I get in my studio. I have the power to just make everything go away. It's very meditational. I need it very much, that in nature, as much as I need wildness and going out and fashion and all those things that I love so much. So I don't have anything to lose by just being myself. I can be misunderstood, that's for sure. And with some of the huge, collaborations that I've done, I've had people that have been like, Ashley, your Instagram, woo, it's racy. We wish you didn't use profanity. And I'm like, well, whenever I mention your brand, I won't. And also, if you can curate the product, but you can't curate the producer.
Person. Yeah.
I want to be happy. I'm not happy when I'm not being me. I also know where my heart is. I just want to have fun. I love joy. I want to celebrate my life. I want to dance. I want to laugh. I want to have art all around me. I want to make art. I want to meet interesting people. I want to be so happy I cry. That's
Oh
that's what I
God.
want in my life.
I love that. But tell me something. I think a lot of us, we all, if we ask ourselves, we all want to be happy. But I think a lot of us struggle with and I think this is something that I also spoke on the last episode. Like, amidst, especially in today's time, there's so much noise around us. There is so much constant information that sometimes it's hard to know that who you are, what is that the surrounding is, what is your voice and what is other people. And how do you know that, okay, like, this is me, and having the courage to actually go for it? Did you at any point feel that, okay, like, you found yourself? Were you always like this?
When did I find myself? I think I've always been here with myself. I think the difference is my inner monologue and what I
Yeah.
say to myself. Um, and a lot of this just takes experience and rejection and all sorts of things. But I think the main thing that's changed is me um, telling myself the reasons why I can do something, not the reasons why I can't.
Cannot.
Me, being extremely ambitious and working very hard. Also, my father didn't write me a check. I didn't
Yes.
marry anybody with a whole bunch of money or any.
Yeah.
I've had to do it all on my own. So
Yes.
there really hasn't been time for excuses or to sit around wondering about. It's time to work, which I
Yeah.
I love. It's an honor to work. So self doubt has never been an option. Self doubt's never been an option. It's been a matter of putting myself out there in as many ways as possible and finding who my audience is and just going for it as hard as I can.
So you also found painting as your, like, I remember a line where you said, like, even if you find the love of your life or $1 million, the moment you found painting, you knew that this is something that is your true love for the rest of your life. Who was Ashley before that? Were you still someone who you are today, like that?
I mean, I'm a very anxious person. I think probably because I do have so much energy, I need to
Yeah.
put my energy towards something. So, look, when I was growing up and still living with my parents, I mean, I was in dance class and theater and anything they could get me involved in to get my energy directed. Fortunately, I found art on my own. So, yes, when I found art, I'd never found anything that I loved that much. And I never went to school for it. I just started painting all the time. I started painting as much as I could. I stopped going out at night. I just because I wanted to paint. That's all I wanted to do. And at some point, I looked around and I had all these paintings lining the walls, and I just thought, well,
Wow.
I'm gonna start a career. Why can't I sell these things? There's other artists out there doing this. When I researched, I didn't necessarily find a lot of female artists. So I thought, well, hell, I'm going to be a badass female successful artist. I'm going to go out here and I'm going to do this. I'm going to show them what's up. And so, that's what I'm doing.
You've done that. You're doing it pretty well.
It doesn't feel like I've done it. It feels like I'm just getting started. You set goals for yourself and you do these things. You think, oh my God, I can't wait to do a red carpet, or I can't wait to meet this celebrity in person. And you do that and it's awesome. But you have to find fulfillment within yourself. You have to
Yeah.
find joy within yourself, not in, VIP, red carpet, all the spin, the spin, the spin. The realness is in, and the beauty of a day and the joy of a day is, my favorite day, honestly, is like at the end of the day when I step back and I look at my easel and I've painted something, and then I have my dogs and I walk
I
through my
love that.
garden and I pick some lettuce and some tomatoes and then go cook with my man. I mean, that's nice. That's nice. It's simple. It's very simple.
But also, yeah, I think that's I really want to know how, like, your life, your energy is pretty, you have a lot of things going, and um specifically, like, it's like very out there. How is your life behind the, I think, like, what we show outside versus there's so much behind those social feeds that we see on the internet, or the images or the photo, but who you really are, what life looks like for you.
Well, I definitely am that person, but there's also, I don't post a lot of like my personal time with my friends. I don't post a whole lot of things with, Michael, or necessarily even with my family. Like, there's a lot of things I do keep personally,
Yeah.
because I just think, shit, it's not all out there for everybody to see. But I am wide open and wild, and you could ask any of my friends. But at the same time, I'm not always the happiest
Yeah.
person on the planet. I'm a very intense person.
Really?
Um, I'm extremely intense, yes, and
Wow.
aggressive. I mean,
Oh,
I haven't, not aggressive in a bad way, but
yeah,
like when I
I know what
decide
you mean.
I'm gonna paint 20 paintings in, 2 weeks, you better get out of my way. Like, I'll wake up at 4 in the morning, I'll paint for 14 hours, I'll ice my shoulder and my hip and my wrist. When I'm done, I'll pass out with a heating pad on my back. I wake up and I go for it. And my team knows, like, don't mess with me when I get in that mode. I move very fast. I'm very fast when I want something. Um, but I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know any other way to be. It's just how I roll.
I think, I really want to learn from you. I really want to listen what you have to say about this, because I think a part of all of this is also loving ourselves, accepting who we are, be it fast, be it slow, be it intense, or be it, joyful, or whatever, whoever we are. But there's also a lot of inhibition. I think someone who has a lot of energy feels like they may take too much space, or what people think about it. Someone who doesn't have is, have their own. Did you ever had those inhibitions where you felt like you were taking a lot of space, or like what people would think about you or your work?
You know what? I make sure that I hang out with a very bohemian, creative crowd. It's funny, like, yeah, I can feel a little bit awkward if I get into a room, filled, like a women's luncheon of a bunch of like fancy ladies who are just bat their eyes and smile, and maybe they don't go off on a rant filled with expletives and say the things that I say. I know that I need to filter myself a little bit in those
Yeah,
situations. um, but and I do, out of respect, but I also don't put myself in that situation unless I have to.
have to.
I say it a lot on my feed, like, stay away from assholes, stay away from
I know.
people that are mean, stay away from
Yeah,
people that are gossips, stay away from people that do not wish you the best in your life, stay away from people that are just trying to take from you, that aren't celebrating your successes with you. It's just like, you really have to curate who's around you, so that you can be who you really are. And I just, in the town where I grew up, there was so much of that catty women and women clawing at each other. And, it plays a huge role in my artwork because a lot of what I paint is about what kind of woman I want to be. What's the right way to do it,
Yes.
Um, so, I grew up watching, my mother be extremely catty and all those other women. And it's not something I wanted for my life. So I just have done things my own way. And I think
I
that's what
love
you
that.
have to do.
Yeah.
If you hang out with a bunch of insecure people that are gossiping and that are hateful, trust me, when you're not sitting in that chair, they're talking about you. I don't like
Yeah.
to hang out with people like that. My
I love.
people, we play. We put on music and we play. We take pictures. We style photo shoots. I'm friends with some incredible drag queens. We do our
I know.
makeup. We
Yes, I didn't
you know,
that.
we play the
Yeah.
guitar and write songs. We, write short stories, and it's just that's how I roll.
I love that. But tell me something. I was reading and you said this that when you entered New Orleans, where you have your house today, when you came to this place, you came even with barely two nickels by yourself, and today you know, you've built amazingly successful career for yourself. Um, and also, I think I really relate to this feeling because having nothing and then making bit by bit whatever it is. And you said, like, how when you bought this house you really wanted to to show it all, like to have art all over it and to make it a space that truly reflects you. I just wanted to talk you through your journey of like having nothing to making this. And something I think, honestly, for someone, I think I never thought, and a lot of people around me still don't think making a living from what part of the world I come, like from India, it's still a lot of patriarchy. For a woman to pursue a career of her own, to have a house of her own, to have a life of her own, opinion of her own is still a big deal. And being an artist, I think on my own personal journey, even today, from where I come, it's still something that's still not, I mean, it's not that we seek validation, but we also know that we don't have that validation. Like, so it's I'm sure it may have a lot of layers to it than just what we see online. Can you take us through a little bit of your journey of how that has been for you?
It's been interesting. It's been interesting, and I'll tell you why. Because building what I've built and figuring out how to, have a company and a team, and to have my own gallery and to not have galleries representing me and taking 50% of me doing this on my own, has been very challenging and wonderful. And the journey of doing that has been absolutely incredible. And yes, going from barely being able to pay my rent to, being able to have enough excess to give back to my community has been a wonderful thing. I will say this though, you know, in the beginning of my journey, I can't tell you how marvelous it was to just have all of that time for my creativity,
I love that.
to be building that, to be understanding the world and opportunity and my place in it. When my career really, really started to take off, and I'm very grateful for all of that, by the way, so I don't want to sound ungrateful.
Yes, yes.
And, I'm selling more art and more opportunities and flying all over the world and doing all these things. It's funny when I look back on it, although I'm very grateful, I wouldn't say that that's the happiest time in my life. Um, when I think of my most joyous part of this career so far, it's been the beginning of it and building it. And quite honestly, after this pandemic, resetting, everything slowing down, and me recalibrating what truly brings me joy in my life, I do feel a new happiness that I haven't felt in quite a few years.
What changed for you?
Well, I think maybe I thought that all of that press and all of those things and all of that stuff would somehow be a magic wand. And and again, I'm not complaining because it's
Yes,
freaking awesome.
absolutely. Yes,
But
absolutely.
to be completely honest with you, like I've told you before, my happiest day is a day painting at my easel,
Yeah.
walking through the garden, cooking a fun dinner. It's much far more
Yeah.
simplistic where my
Yeah.
joy is in my life. Now that being said, we all want attention
Wow.
as artists. We
Yeah.
all want opportunity, but those things are not necessarily what makes you successful.
Yeah.
Success as an artist is a very interesting level of fulfillment. It's a soulful level of fulfillment that extends way beyond money or recognition. It's really an incredible thing to take a thought and to put it out there for other people to experience. And when people relate to your artwork, when you step back at the end of the day and you see something that is your time, your tangible time in your life,
Line.
that's where the joy is. And
I
yeah,
know.
we need people to buy our art. Of course we do. We've got to pay our rent. We've got shit we've got to do. But if your goal is only money and fame, you will absolutely be miserable because those two things have no cap and you can never have enough of them.
And also, being an artist may not be just the easiest way to get that.
No, but there's billions of people on the planet. There's lots of people that need art. You just got to find out who your audience is. There's lots of different ways to make a living as an artist.
Absolutely. You're sitting right in front of us. I think that is exactly, that a lot of us need to see the possibility, like you said, when today where you are, you decided, like, you've taken a path which is pretty independent, quite bold, and I think it's courageous, but it's also, when you put too much trust in yourself, that you have it in you. And a lot of times as artists, we feel scared, um, and I think that fear is also not that comes from outside. That fear is a lot about that we put on ourselves.
You cannot be afraid. You cannot be afraid. That fire of fear will either burn your house down or keep you warm at night. You cannot be afraid. You have to let that be a catalyst. I'm anxious. I am so anxious. Art is a way for me to take that anxiety about the world and my place in it, and I use it as fuel. Do produce, create. That's the other thing. When everything was crazy before the pandemic, and it's still crazy, by the way, being on airplanes and going all this and being on stages and all this stuff. I felt so anxious. I wasn't finding the joy in that like I find in getting on a canvas and working, pushing my feelings. You cannot be afraid. You have to take that fear and let it just propel you, not make you sing. The only way to do that is with action. You cannot sit around and think about making your art. You have to make your art. And the minute you do that, you're going to feel great.
I know that. I think that is a lot of us. I think that is why we choose to be an artist. The moment, you know, so in the past 2 years, I've had an incredible hard time because I lost my mom and I had a huge break and I
Mm.
wasn't able to make a lot of art. But every time, and I spoke to this with Daniel, and I had an episode where she shared how she lost her father and she had the same experience. And I felt like I would never be able to paint again or make anything again because I never felt connected to myself for a very long time. Like, for me to not being able to feel that felt very overwhelming, and I felt like this is never coming back because I don't know how would I feel myself. And there was one day, and I had no intention, but I just saw something and I was like, okay, maybe I'll pick up a color. And when something came out of me, I'd not I don't think ever since my mom I'd felt that kind of joy, or like that kind of connection to myself, like it. And I feel like as artists we also are so privileged that we're able to process our emotions in some ways, find connections. Like, my work today has become a lot about finding connection to my mother, finding connection to my own roots, and kind of building my own, like, I don't have heirlooms today, and that's why how I say my work is like heirlooms, like part of, because, like, I love how Daniel say, like, when as artists we have the power of making anything terrible, be it a thing or a situation, into something wonderful.
Exactly. It's magical.
And I'm going to ask you a question which everybody is going to be like, what was Ashley Longshore's, or is, biggest struggle, like building your creative career, being yourself all through these years? What do you think was your biggest struggle? What have you struggled with the most?
I think so much of my work is about women, and again, where I fit in. Do I fit in? Am I um, I'm estranged from my mother. I don't have any relationship with her. We were always sort of on opposite ends. I never wanted to be like her, so I've never really had that connection to, like, like a mother figure in my
Yeah.
life. I have accumulated incredible mentors that are unbelievable women. It's not the same. So I think maybe for me, I've always just done things my own way instinctively. So maybe part of my struggle is, understanding what this whole thing really means about being a woman. I'm not a mother. I haven't had children. Never had an inkling to do that. Um, I've just always felt like having a career and proving myself to myself that, I'm independent and that I don't need anyone to take care of me. Maybe there's a struggle between me being defiant and, not wanting to need a man and not needing anybody. Although I've been in a relationship for 17 years with a wonderful man who's so incredible. Um, I just think, and I mean, like anybody, you want to be accepted and you want to be loved, for God's sake,
Loved.
you know.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I think that would be one of my more deeper struggles, is to, find my place as a woman. I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
I say that, but yet I know who I am, but we're evolving.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, of course, figuring out how to make money. I mean, who isn't struggling with that? I mean, shit, that's
Yeah.
like, I guess even when you're a billionaire, you have to figure out how
Yeah.
to keep everybody from taking your money. I don't know. Um, but I think, I think maybe that's one of the biggest things.
I
Maybe
like that.
I need to think about that more. I guess talk to my therapist.
There's something to take away today.
But I am a very optimistic person. I always have been able to give myself a pep talk, even when I felt hopeless, even if it was hopeless just for a moment. Like, oh God, this is so hard. I'm never going to get where I want to be, or oh God, when I was, in my 30s, and I see all these women driving expensive cars and living in big houses and wearing all these clothes, and I've got like a little apartment that I'm renting, and I'm making my paintings, and I'm like, how can anybody do any of this? How can anybody do any of this? And fortunately, I never gave up on myself. And then, once you figure out how to do that and you get all the stuff, and you just have a bunch of stuff, it's actually very noisy.
Yeah. But it's also, I think, as you said, we never know. I think what's so interesting is because I feel like what you said just now, it has so much to what I have felt, and I think it could also be because you also grew up in a smaller town, and like, a lot of our condition, like how I grew up, a lot of my own conditioning has always, like you said, like, I don't need a man, or I don't need to get married, or like in India, not being married as a 30-year-old is quite a is quite a big thing. Not having children, um, not being dependent on, not wanting to be dependent on anyone, be it your own father, family, and I felt like, and that is also how my work started. And I think how our experiences, even with those experiences, we're constantly like, I'm also finding my place as an identity as a woman continuously. As a lot of things changed as I reached, like, as my mom passed away, and I felt like anything that defined who I am as a woman was something that I saw my mom, and it was like a ground, and I felt like that was taken away. And now who am I again? Like, what is my place in this world today again? Something that I resonated with. And I think sometimes we just don't know how much, like, it's not like this, it's like this ocean, I think. Like, you never know, you're in deep of it, but you never know there's an end to it. Like, there will always be more. The more you keep going forward, there will always be more and more and more, because you're into it.
This is life. This is the life that we're trying to capture with our art. I mean, this is, the feelings that push us, that we're expressing. And this is what makes art so special, because when you express yourself through your beautiful paintings, when I'm making my art and somebody sees it and they feel it, the intimacy there is incredible. The human connectivity is amazing, and it doesn't matter where we live or how we grew up. Art is something that connects us universally.
Yeah,
Um, that's why we're so lucky we're artists.
I know. I know. Tell me something. This is something I've been asking a lot of people personally, because I think, like, you have this amazing energy. Your work is so much positive. It's very like this go-getter attitude. It's like it's a whole vibe. And I'm sure, like you said, you're not like that always. And you have your own shifts. I saw, like, personally in the past 2 years, like, my work became a lot more serious because I was going through a very hard time, and I struggled with, like, I really, and I still struggle with, like, how who I am, what's happening behind the scenes impacts a lot of
Mhm.
what I make and how I make it.
Mhm.
I just want to know, like, how do you manage, like, days like when you are making, like, your work, and I'm sure we all have seasons of life where we are having a good season, hard season, and how does that, what's your relationship with your work?
Well, the same way I use like my social media to like get myself fired up and put out something positive with my artwork, even if I'm feeling sad, I'm like, I'm gonna put something joyful. I'm gonna do something that makes me laugh. I'm gonna paint something really beautiful to uplift, to bring myself to another frequency. I haven't really gone into um, a dark place with my artwork. I certainly have explored, social topics, and again, what it's like to be a woman. But mostly, I mean, I use my art as a way to lift my own spirit.
Your art is like a pep talk to us also.
Yeah. So hopefully through me, telling myself these things, other people relate and they go, shit, yes, I get that. I love that. So, yeah, I just try, I try to paint stuff that makes me happy, that makes me laugh, that makes me think, that brings me joy. I love color. Color makes me feel alive. The minute I take a white canvas and all of a sudden, boom, there it is. It's like magic. You know
The
this.
joy of creating.
Yes, it's fantastic. It's just so good.
I love that. And what about, what about, you know, how how you've built your, this is the creative part of being an artist. There's the other part, the business part that we just spoke. Um, you took the call of, I think, I'm going to ask very, very basic questions, and I want to ask this for myself, but also a lot of people, like, you know a lot of artists had this stigma, like, building a team. A lot of artists are scared of that. We're not taught. But also, like, it's not like when you're building a company or like a business, these are very common things. But for artists to take decisions and to know that they can hire help, that they can, be on their own, they can choose to do all of these things. What are your suggestions, and how have you learned your way through these things?
Well, there are no rules. Number one, you can do whatever you want to do. So, like, you have to understand that first and foremost. There is a lot of different ways to do this. And if you instantly think there's only one way to do it, then you're the only person putting those parameters on yourself. There's a lot of different ways to do this. So I've always just done it my own way. I mean, I got rejected so much, was told that I would never make it, told my work wasn't marketable. And so I was like, well, screw this. I'm going to start my own company. Was it the easiest way? Hell no. Was it a better way for me? Yes. Um, I had a gallery that emailed me last night and they were like, hey, we're so and so. This is where we are. We want to represent you. We take 50%. Let me know if this is good. I'll fly and come and meet you. And I just responded and said, hi, thank you so much. Unfortunately, 50-50 is just a model that I don't understand. 50-50 is a model for manufactured goods. That's wholesale price, not a piece of art that is one of a kind that's been created. I started my own company. I have my own team. I have my own PR. I'm represented by CAA. I would never give up 50% to anybody. And the lady responded and said, oh yes, but galleries have so many expenses. We don't just pocket the money. We have a high rent area. And I'm responding, and I said, yeah, me too.
Me too.
I own a gallery too. I do that too. The answer was no, no. I think you have to, as much as you want to say yes and you want all these opportunities, when you're putting yourself out there and you're starting, you have to know that the answer, saying no to something, is also very powerful. Don't work for exposure.
Yeah, you today are at a place where you are at a place that that you can afford this answer. Like,
I said no. I said no. I
always.
said no. Because also, it doesn't take a whole lot of times of someone taking your inventory on consignment and nothing happening and you not having your inventory, and then some random ghost of a person wants to buy your artwork, and then you get a check for half of what it's worth. And you don't know who your collector is. What happens if the gallery closes? How are you supposed to put yourself out there? How do you stay in contact with that person? An existing collector is the best collector. You already know that they
Yes.
love you. They're probably going to buy more art. I'm an art collector. I buy so much
Yes.
art. I never buy one of anything. Um, you know, yeah, look, even when I was younger, people that wanted me to work for exposure, are you
Yeah.
getting paid? Then I should be getting paid. There's enough brownie in the pan for everybody. Like you really have to stand up for yourself. You really have to stand up for yourself. And there are no rules.
Yes. Yes. And also, like, something like, um I think it's also like the power of taking risks, that you have to have so much conviction in yourself that you're like, either I'm going to this way or I'm not going to do. Like, I know that I have to make it this way.
Yeah, I mean, I had a call with this huge billion-dollar corporation a couple of days ago, and they were interested in a partnership. And they're like, what's your dream? What's the biggest thing you want to do? And I told them, and then I said, I'm certainly interested in this, but I said, I'm an artist. I'd like to get paid. I said, because I know you two aren't working for free. I don't work for free either. I mean, you have to be able to stand up for yourself. If it isn't all about money, but time is
Yeah.
our most precious commodity. Because you know what? If I'm on an airplane or if I'm in a room full of people, guess what? I'm not in my favorite place in the whole world, and that's painting.
Yeah.
So if you're going to snatch me away from where I'm painting something that will make me money, then damn it, you better pull your checkbook out. I mean, it just makes sense, though, right?
Yes, absolutely. I think it always makes sense. I don't know why it doesn't make sense for everybody else. A lot of people, actually.
And especially when you are an artist and you're a woman, you know, you
And
can
and if you're in
particularly.
a patriarchal country.
Yes, which the United States feels extremely, not as much as India, but we can't make decisions about our own bodies anymore, and it's
Yes,
uh, it's it's a
absolutely.
scary place. It's a
Yeah,
very
it
scary
is.
place. Which is why, at least we have the opportunity to open up our own businesses. So that's why I'm like, get your ass out there, start a business, make your own money, make money, give money to politicians that you do believe in. Like, this is a machine, man. You got to get involved in it, right?
Yes. And I think what I really love about you is also, um, I think you are a reality that shows a whole different angle of what is possible for us. But also, I think something I truly believe in, that as artists, we're just not artists, but also entrepreneurs. We need to think like people who are. It's just not in the like thinking about practical things of side of things and taking control, like you would do in any business, that you wouldn't sit back and wait for people to come in, come and buy something for you. You would go literally to them, build all those things. And a lot of artists feel scared of taking that leap, like.
And you know what? If that is how you feel, working with a gallery might be the best way for
Yes.
you, because there are studio artists. Not every
Yeah.
artist is going to want to do what I do. And
Yeah.
when I talk about galleries and 50%, look, I keep 100%, but then I have all the rent of a
Right.
gallery. I have
Yeah.
all my employees. I pay payroll tax, all of
Yeah.
that stuff. But I love the business side of it. So
Yeah.
again, there's so many different
Many
ways to
ways.
make it as an artist. You just have to decide.
Yeah. You've also taken that role. If you don't have the gallery, you've become the gallery for yourself. You've built this entire structure that actually works for you. In the other place, I think it's also a transaction. You're giving someone 50%. They're doing a lot of work for you. If you keep that percent, you do that work for yourself.
Yeah, but you also get to know who your clients are.
Yes.
There's there's a plus and minus to everything.
Yeah.
I personally just never liked the way 50% felt.
Wow.
It felt, and if you look at other businesses, there is not another
No.
industry that takes that much. There
No.
isn't,
Yes, that's true.
other than the music industry, who's also
We're
taking
also
from
the
artists.
creative.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like even people that work with designers and decorators, they have
Yeah.
their shops. Well, they go to a market, they buy the sofa, they buy the lamp, they buy the rug, and they sell it. But then you want artists to just give you the art and hang it on consignment and hope that it sells, and you take 50%. No, pull out your checkbook. Pull out your checkbook.
I love that quote. I'm going to put this. This will be the title of this episode. Pull out your checkbook.
Yeah, I'm saying that like Gen Z, like nobody knows what the hell a checkbook is. Pull out your Venmo. Venmo me. Show me the money, damn it. Show me the
Exactly.
money. I'm worth
Yes.
it. You're worth it. Artists are worth it. Period.
I love that. What a strong closing. I love that. Thank you so much, Ashley. Thank you so much. But I have one more thing before I let you go. I know you're short on time.
I love it.
A small rapid fire, just to have a little bit of more fun. This or that. Okay. Are you a day night or a day or a night person? Your preference, choice of creating.
Day. Day.
Day.
100% day. I wake up very early in the morning. I go hard all day long. Sometimes I get in the bed at 8 o'clock at night, and I'll
Oh my
sleep
goodness.
for oh yeah, I sleep like a baby. Then I wake up and I go hard, hard, hard.
Music or silence? What's your zone of creating?
Music.
What kind of music do you listen?
My God, I have lists that I've curated all the way from The Cure and Harry Styles to Roisin Murphy to Ella Fitzgerald. I mean, I listen to music all day, every day.
Have you listened to Indian classical? Because we spoke about India.
Oh no, I haven't, but
Oh
I'll
my
listen to that
God.
after. I do go through periods where I listen to like Ravi Shankar. I love sitar. I love the Bollywood music. Like
Yes,
I
that is
love
what
that.
I was about
Yes,
to say. Like Bollywood music would be like your wife. Like it's going to be, and Punjabi
it
music, Indian
is.
Punjabi. It'll be like Indian Punjabi music is something. I'll send you something. Inspiration or creativity? Your first choice.
Well, you can't have one without the other. I mean, you have to you have to have the inspiration before you can be creative. Um, yeah, for me, inspiration always.
What is the worst advice you've ever received so far in your career?
Oh, people telling me what I should and should not say, should and should not do this, do that, be anything but me. changing who I am to, I mean, I've heard some pretty crazy stuff. Change the signature on my painting.
Really?
Um, don't tell people my name is Ashley. Go by SA. Like, it just, you wouldn't believe the things people have interjected on me. Um,
God.
so instead of saying the worst thing anybody's ever said, I'll just say, always be true to yourself.
Love
That's the
that.
best advice I can give you.
You've already answered my upcoming question. Okay. Can you share a moment? I love this question. Something that's very close to your heart so far in your career, a moment that felt like, okay, what you're doing so far, really everything makes sense. Like we all have those moments, like teeny tiny moments.
I think my scholarship program that I have now, that I do through the Young Arts Foundation, is one of the most fulfilling, incredible things that I've done. And I'm going to grow this and do everything I can to keep fueling arts and creativity. But being able to give someone an unrestricted scholarship, last year it was to an incredible performer named Blaine Krause, who's in musical theater, and he is so talented. And I gave him a scholarship in honor of my friend Patrick Hale, who passed away. And then this year is a photography and theater scholarship in honor of my friend Alex Edmondson Martinez, who unfortunately passed away from cancer. She was a very dear friend. So,
I'm
I
so
mean,
sorry.
for me, yeah, it sucks, but it's, being able to honor people that I've lost,
Yeah,
being able to continue their legacy, to talk about art, and to take the money that I'm making and to then give it back into the creative community and to keep this thing going. That's the happiest I've
magical.
ever been in my life. Oh my God, it feels
Yes.
so good. I can't wait till I can give away millions of dollars. That's my
Oh my
goal.
God. I love that. It sounds so magical. Like, I think the feeling to make that happen, like to see that rolling, I think how special would that be?
Oh, I'm gonna do. No, it's gonna be because I'm gonna do it.
We're all here for you. We're all here for you. One last question. What is the one piece of advice you would want to, which you've already done, but I still want to ask you. One piece of advice for anyone who's listening to this episode who look up to you, because there are a ton of those people, you know that. And women specifically.
Yeah, I think that this is universal, and I've said it earlier in our podcast, but to have that inner monologue to tell yourself why you can, not why you cannot, why you can do anything, not why you're going to get pushback or be misunderstood. Why the joy of a day is full of unbelievable surprises. This is what life is all about. It could rain money. It could be a shitstorm. Shit makes the best fertilizer. It's all going to be okay. This is so important. This is the greatest relationship that we have, is with ourselves. We spend more time with ourselves than any other person in the world. We know ourselves better than anybody else.
I love
Be
that.
kind to yourself. You are creative. Be kind to yourself. You are special. Be kind to yourself because the world needs you. That is my greatest advice.
Thank you so much. I think, oh my God, it just spoke to me. And I hope anyone who's listening to this, I I think I had a very hard day today. I have to take a decision, very out of my league, still doubting myself, but I also know the dream that I have. I need to take that leap. And just what you said, it's only pushed me, like given me that courage, like, I need to believe more in myself instead of thinking like why things can't work out, why things can work out.
Right. You have the choice to think about it any way you want. You might as well think about it in a positive way. And maybe a positive way means that the answer would be no to them because it doesn't feel right to you. Maybe the answer is yes because you want to see what happens and you're willing to do the work. But you'll make the right decision as long as you're kind to yourself. Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much, Ashley. Thank you so much. I am very, very grateful to you. And I really appreciate your time.
I can't wait to see you in India. I am. I am.
And I'll have this space. It's still not set up, but I know when you are going to be, it's going to be full of art. It's going to be buzzing, and you'll see India, a little India here.
I cannot wait. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this.
Thank you so much.